Inside you there's a fire, a force so powerful it can burn away every fear, every doubt, and every weakness that's been holding you back. But here's the truth. Most people never let that fire ignite. They let it smolder, buried under layers of excuses, fear, and procrastination. The question is, will you let your fire burn bright, or will you let it die out? Weakness is something we all carry, whether we acknowledge it or not. It creeps in during the quiet moments, whispering lies that make you believe you're not good enough, strong enough, or capable enough to handle what life throws your way. It's not just the big challenges that bring it out. It's in the small decisions too. Every time you choose comfort over growth, every time you let fear dictate your actions, you're feeding that weakness. Over time, these moments become habits. They build a version of yourself that accepts less, that hesitates to take risks, that convinces you to settle for what's safe instead of reaching for what's possible. But that's not who you really are. Deep down, you know there's more to you than what you've been showing the world. Life doesn't make it easy. It throws obstacles in your path, setbacks, failures, criticism, and with every blow, it feels like that fire inside you gets smaller and smaller. You start to wonder if it's even there anymore. You feel stuck, trapped in a cycle of wanting more, but doubting whether you can actually achieve it. Here's the truth. Weakness isn't who you are. It's just a state of mind, a temporary condition that grows only when you let it. And the fire within you? It hasn't gone out. It's still there, waiting to burn away every limitation, every excuse, every fear that's been holding you back. Think about the moments in your life when you felt unstoppable. Maybe it was after pushing through a challenge, stepping out of your comfort zone, or proving to yourself that you were capable of more than you ever imagined. In those moments, the fire within you was burning bright. That fire is your strength, your resilience, your potential. It's the part of you that refuses to give up, no matter how tough things get. But that fire needs fuel. It needs you to believe in it, to feed it with action, and to let it grow. Weakness doesn't stand a chance against a fire that burns bright. But here's the thing. It's your choice to let it burn. Most people never reach their full potential because they're afraid of the heat. They're afraid of the discomfort, the hard work, and the sacrifices that come with growth. It's easier to stay where they are, to avoid the struggle, to tell themselves it's not the right time to start. But every time you avoid the hard stuff, you're letting your fire fade. Every excuse you make, every opportunity you pass up, is another log that never makes it to your flame. You can't avoid the struggle. It's part of life. But you can choose how you respond to it. The fire within you is the key to transforming every setback, every failure, and every doubt into fuel for your growth. When you let it burn, something incredible happens. You don't just destroy your weaknesses, you turn them into strength. This is your turning point. You can choose to let the challenges you face define you, or you can let them refine you. The fire within you is waiting, and it's up to you to decide whether you'll let it burn. Think about the strongest version of yourself. What does that person look like? How do they act? How do they handle life's challenges? That person isn't some distant version of you. They're already inside you, waiting to be unleashed. The fire within you is the key to unlocking that potential. But no one else can do it for you. No one else can face your fears, conquer your doubts, or destroy your weaknesses. That's your job. And the moment you decide to let the fire within burn, everything changes. This isn't just about survival, it's about thriving. The road ahead won't be easy, but it will be worth it. The fire within you isn't just a source of strength, it's a force of transformation. The fire within you is not just a flicker, it's a force capable of transforming every weakness into strength, every fear into fuel, and every doubt into determination. But for that fire to burn, you must feed it. You must embrace the process of growth, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels impossible. Weakness isn't permanent, but overcoming it requires action. The first step is to stop running from the hard things. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, hiding from challenges, and numbing themselves with distractions. They mistake comfort for happiness, but comfort is the enemy of growth. If you want the fire within to burn, you have to step into the heat. Start by acknowledging the areas in your life where you've been holding back. Maybe it's fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of stepping outside your comfort zone. Whatever it is, name it, call it out. When you identify your weaknesses, you take the first step toward burning them away. Once you've identified what's holding you back, the next step is action. Action is what separates those who let their fire fade from those who let it burn. And here's the truth. It doesn't matter how small that action is. What matters is that you start. Take one step, no matter how small, and then take another. Progress is built one step at a time. Every time you act, every time you push through resistance, you're feeding the fire within. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. That fire grows with every challenge you face, with every obstacle you overcome, and with every moment you refuse to give up. But let's be honest, there will be moments when the fire feels like it's dying out. There will be days when you're tired, discouraged, and ready to quit. Those are the moments that matter most. Because the fire within doesn't burn brightest when things are easy. It burns brightest when you're willing to fight for it, even when it's hard. You build strength by doing the hard things, by choosing growth over comfort, by stepping into the heat instead of running from it. And with every choice, with every effort, you're transforming yourself into someone who doesn't just survive life's challenges, but thrives because of them. To keep that fire burning, you need to focus on consistency. Consistency is the fuel that keeps the flames alive. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about committing to the process, trusting that every small action adds up over time. And here's the thing, as the fire within you grows, so will your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. The things that used to intimidate you will become stepping stones. The fears that once held you back will become fuel. The doubts that once silenced you will become reminders of how far you've come. But this transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you choose it. It happens because you decide every single day to let the fire within burn. There's a reason why the strongest, most successful people in the world embrace struggle. They understand that struggle isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of growth. They know that the fire within them burns brightest in the midst of adversity. And they don't run from it. They lean into it. You can do the same. You don't need permission, validation, or a perfect plan. Everything you need is already inside you. The fire within you is enough. But you have to believe it. You have to trust that no matter how hard things get, you have the strength to rise. Imagine what your life would look like if you let the fire within burn. Imagine what you could achieve if you stopped letting weakness control your decisions. Imagine the person you could become if you embrace the process of growth no matter how hard it gets. That version of you isn't just a dream, it's your destiny, but it's up to you to make it real. The fire within you is waiting, and the only thing standing between you and your transformation is your willingness to act. This isn't about being fearless or perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about choosing to fight for your growth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels impossible. Because that's when the fire within burns brightest. When you look back on your life, what will you see? Will you see a person who let their fire fade, who let fear and doubt dictate their decisions? Or will you see someone who embraced the heat, who burned away every weakness, and who became stronger, sharper, and more unstoppable because of it? The choice is yours. The fire within you is ready. The question is, are you? You've got the fire within you. Now it's time to let it burn. Don't let doubt, fear, or hesitation hold you back. Hit that like button if you're ready to ignite your potential. Subscribe to join a community of warriors transforming their struggles into strength, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Your journey starts now. Step into the heat, and let the fire within guide you to greatness.